Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday. We're live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Welcome to another edition of Likeable Leaders. I am your host, Dave Kirpin, and for the next 20 minutes, we will be hanging out talking about leadership and likability. And today, some interesting topics around 3D printing and digital manufacturing with my special guest, who I will introduce in just a moment. But first, as always, we have some books to give away. We're going to give away copies of my latest, The Art of People, as well as Likeable Social Media, 3rd edition, your choice. And the only way to win is by posting a comment or a question right beneath this video stream. So let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what questions you have, what comments you have. And Christina, my amazing apprentice and producer, is going to let me know what questions you have and, of course, what winners we have. We'll give away our first book, our first prize in just a couple of minutes. And now let me introduce our special guest today, Dr. Adrian Keppler. Creation of sustainable, profitable growth. That is what Adrian Keppler always drives. The last 11 years as managing director at EOS GmbH, one of the world's leading companies in the field of industrial 3D printing. You can see quite a few 3D printers behind you, virtually at least. With this experience, Adrian's one of the few experts in the 3D printing industry worldwide. His global network in the rapidly changing high-tech industry, combined with his extensive leadership and management skills, as well as his broad experience in topics like strategy, go-to-market, value selling, solution selling, which he has a book coming to the German market later this year on. Customer service and the digitization of various businesses are what distinguish Adrian. Currently a senior advisor for digital manufacturing at H&Z Management Consulting, active in several advisory board positions, and a recent investor in a 3D printing startup. Welcome to the investing world. Great to have you. Great to meet you. Welcome to Likeable Leaders, Adrian Keppler.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, and I'm very excited, and I'm looking forward for the next 15 minutes.
Tell me a little bit about 3D printing. I don't know much about it. I know enough to say that it's super cool and super interesting, and I've been really amazed at the stuff that can be made using 3D printing, like real stuff that can be made. What's the most interesting thing that you've seen or heard of being made with 3D printing? And in what verticals do you think 3D printing will be most valuable in the future?
So there are so many opportunities, and there are so many different technologies. You can print polymers, you can print metals, you can print ceramics, you can print resins, you can print also concrete and wood and all this stuff. So there are a lot of application areas, but I think what's driving us is to bring 3D printing into manufacturing, into digital manufacturing, and to revolutionize the way of producing parts. And today there are parts on Mars, there are parts in the orbit, there are in each and every aircraft, there are components, whether it's ducting, whether it's engine components, and even implants. You know, there are millions and millions of people who already have implants made of 3D printing or made by 3D printing. And this is what's driving me, this is what's motivating me, and this is the reason why I believe it's a super cool and super interesting industry.
So how does that impact, legacy industries in manufacturing? Are they going to have to adapt to 3D printing or perish? I mean, what happens if you're making stuff that you're not making with a 3D printer, you're making it the old-fashioned way?
So I think will be a combination. It will be a combination of new technology like 3D printing and conventional technology like milling, turning, grinding. And but I believe that many companies have to rethink their strategy, because digital is all over, and digital will find its way into manufacturing, and 3D printing is a digital technology, but it's able to bridge the gap between the digital layer and the physical layer. So you can print parts, you can print, and I have a part here, yeah, you can print these kind of, it's difficult to see, these kind of parts. So I believe that a lot of leaders, a lot of management teams, they are currently rethinking their strategy in terms of manufacturing. So they have to start here, have to start with the mindset of the engineers, but also with the mindset of the managers.
Love it. Speaking of engineers, if you're just joining us, so I'm live with Dr. Adrian Keppler, one of the world's leading experts in 3D printing. Well, what are you a doctor of? I sort of skipped over your education in the bio there.
So I'm a geotechnical engineer, and I made my PhD high in the Swiss mountains in a laboratory deep in the rock, and on radioactive waste disposal. So it has nothing to do with what I'm doing today.
Nonetheless, you are clearly like crazy smart. So I appreciate that. I appreciate knowing who I'm talking to.
I don't know.
We are, as promised, going to give away some prizes, some books today, and take some questions from the audience. And I already have my first winner, Christopher Reyes from Florida. Congratulations, Christopher Reyes. Send me your info, and we will get a copy of one of my books to you. You can choose one of my books, and we'll get that out to you. And we also have a question from Janvi, all the way from Dubai. Wow. And we have viewers all over the world here, Adrian. And so we're going to jump more into the business side of things here. He wanted to know about what the difference is between value selling and solution selling. Or maybe there is no difference, but how do you see, the difference between sort of value-based selling and solution selling?
So at the end, it's about customer success. Yeah? And if you are in a business, if you work together with customers, then your most important goal has to be that your customers are successful, because then you are successful. And that means that you have to help your customers to solve their problems. And this is, for me, defining a solution together with the customer. And at the end, you create value with that. So to summarize, I believe solution selling is value selling. And this is what companies should focus on, to create value by offering solutions to their customers.
Love it. Okay, so it's a more focused on the solution. When I think value, sometimes I think like lower cost, or just making sure that you're providing equal value depending on the cost. But I think you're focused more on the solution. And one thing I love that you said there is coming up with the solution together. So more empowering the customer to help arrive at the solution that you have to sell. Would you say that's a fair assessment of your approach?
Fully agree. It's a very important skill set of companies in the future, that you are working together with your customers. You try to understand their problems and work together on a solution which is tailor-made to this specific company. And this will differentiate us from other companies who just sell products. And so I believe, especially in Europe, we will focus more and more on solution selling instead of just selling, sorry to say, dumb products.
I'm glad you mentioned Europe, because that was actually going to be my next question. If you're just joining us, we are live with Dr. Adrian Keppler, world-renowned expert in 3D printing, an entrepreneur and investor. If you want to win a copy of one of my books, feel free to post a question or a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. That's an easy way to post a comment, and that's your entry to potentially winning. We'll give away some more books in a bit. But I was going to ask you about that, Dr. Keppler. How do you see Europe different from, I mean, Europe's been through, I think, even tougher than US pandemic, impact of the pandemic. How do you see Europe coming out of the pandemic, business-wise, and what differences have you noticed, or do you think there are between the economy and sort of business outlook market outlook in Europe versus the United States?
Yeah. So we are still in a difficult situation. So, for example, I'm not vaccinated. I'm still waiting. I'm still queuing up, and it will take a while. So, yes, you are right. We are suffering. We still have lockdowns here in Germany. So we are not allowed to go to a restaurant, a bar, and so on and so forth. The difference between Europe and the United States, and I would like to go back to 3D printing. Americans are much, much more open-minded. You know, they try to embrace new technologies. They see the potential, they see the chance, they see the upside. Germans, Europeans sometimes see too often the risk. They see the downside, and they have to be convinced, and this takes along. And today we talk a lot about agility. This is the ability to adapt. And I believe this is something we have to learn here in Europe, that we have to become more agile, that we take a little bit more risk, that we act and decide faster. Otherwise, it will be difficult to catch up with United States and China, for example.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So if I'm hearing you correctly, essentially Europe is a little bit more conservative and more risk averse than the United States, or maybe even China. And while there is potentially some real value in that, there's also some risk in not innovating enough, not moving fast enough, not taking the necessary risks to succeed from an innovation standpoint.
Not adapting fast enough. Yeah? We do a lot of innovation, but many of these innovations are will be commercialized or are commercialized in the United States. So this tells you something. We have to not only innovate, we have to use the topics we are innovating, the products, the solutions we are innovating, to gain competitive advantage. And 3D printing is a great example. You know, there's a lot of penetration in the US. A lot of US companies use the technology, try to learn more how to even use it in a wider range, change their business models, and so on and so forth. And in Europe, we are too conservative in this respect.
That will be a great segue to get to our pyramid in just a moment. We'll look at the Likeable pyramid, as we always do in this show. I just want to invite everyone else that is watching to feel free to post a question for me or for Dr. Keppler. And I have one more 3D question too, and then I'm going to get to the pyramid. First, I want to give away our second prize winner to Arbitus Downing from Cleveland. Arbitus, cool name, Downing from Cleveland. Congratulations, you are our second winner. And we'll give away one more book, a copy of The Art of People, 11 Simple People Skills that will get you everything you want, or Likeable Social Media 3rd edition at the end of the show in just a little bit. Okay, well, one more 3D printing question, because while I have you, I have to ask, is there, what can't be done yet, but you think it will be on the horizon? I mean, it seems like you already spoke about these amazing, body parts, and it's amazing. Is there anything that you'd say sort of can't be done yet with 3D printing, but will be in like 2 years?
Maybe not in 2 years, but I would say in 10 years, and this is organs. Today you can print, let's say, MRO parts. So you print hip implants, you print knee implants, you print dental implants. But in the future, you will be able to print organs, and there are first successes.
A heart.
Sorry?
We're recording this. You think 10 years from now you can print a heart?
Yeah.
Wow! Wow! I love it. I love it. We're gonna have to stay friends for a while, because
if I'm right, I get a book.
You'll have to. Yeah, exactly. Okay. This is very exciting. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. 3D printing a heart from Dr. Adrian Keppler. Christina, if you could share, please, the Likeable pyramid. As always, I'm going to ask you, as a longtime leader yourself, which of these 11 principles of Likeable business resonates the most with you? But as always, before I do that, I want to know from you guys, the viewers, which of these resonate the most with you? Is it listening? Is it storytelling? Is it passion? Is it teamwork? Is it surprise and delight? Is it responsiveness? Is it simplicity? Is it authenticity? Is it transparency? Is it adaptability? Or is it gratefulness? Which is most important to you as a leader? If you have to pick just one. And we'll give our final prize away to one person that posts a comment right now with which is most important to you. How about you, Adrian? Which of these resonates the most with you and why?
So this is a very difficult question because it's very difficult to pick just one. If I would be allowed to pick top three, I would say listening, authenticity, and gratefulness. And I explain you why, because I believe it's super important as a leader to listen. And many leaders, they forget how to listen. They know how to talk, but they are not able to listen. And a coach of mine, he always said, there's a reason why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you should listen much, much more than you are talking. Authenticity, for me, it's important because you have to be true to yourself. If you are not true to yourself, you cannot be true to others. And last but not least, it's gratefulness. I believe nothing is for granted. And the reason why I was in a leadership, or I am in a leadership position, was because I had great supporters. And I had people who supported me, like my family, my colleagues, my coaches, other leaders, other mentors. And so it has only a little bit to do with me. It has to do a lot with others. And it also has to do with serendipity, that things fall into place. So these are, for me, the top three. If I had to pick one, I would say gratefulness. This is, for me, the utmost important topic, that you always, also be a little bit thankful, grateful that you are in this position.
Well, I love that. And of course, I love all 11 since I wrote them. But if I had to pick three, they would probably be those same three. And gratefulness for sure is the one that resonates the most with me. Do you have any? I'm curious because I employ quite a few gratitude practices myself. Do you have any specific gratitude practices that you, either as on the personal side or on the professional side, that you've ever practiced?
No, I don't have special practices, but maybe I would add one additional element to these 11s.
Please.
And this is humility or humbleness. It's very often you step into a CEO role and you believe you know exactly what you have to do. You know exactly where to develop the company towards. And I think this is not always the right approach. So you need to be humble. You need to reflect. You have to understand and always keep in mind that you are responsible, and not only for the company, you are responsible for the employees, and you are responsible for their families. So whatever decision you take, it's an important one. And this is something which we as leaders have to keep in mind. Very often it's about, I don't know whether this is the right expression, honor and glory. It's not about honor and glory. It's about bringing the organization, bringing your coworker to the next level, be successful, and create something which is lasting for long, which is sustainable.
I love that. And we have often heard from guests that humility and gratitude are actually tied together, because if we're in a pure state of gratitude, then we can't help but be humble. I would think it's for me, gratitude is the practice of being focused on others and being grateful for them instead of focused on ourselves. So to me, there is an interesting tie-in between gratitude and humility. But I appreciate hearing that. If I read you the pyramid, humility will be in that section with gratitude at the top. That is my promise to you. We have a grand prize winner, and we have to wrap up, but I want to thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Adrian Keppler. Where can folks get in touch with you if they want to learn more?
I'm on LinkedIn, so whoever has a question, reach out to me, and I'm happy to talk to you and connect with you. I believe in the future, we will see more and more factories of the future, like behind on my screen. And this is what's driving me. And I believe that many of people listening today will also think about that.
Fantastic. Our grand prize winner is Claudia Fialos. Claudia Fialos, congratulations. Reach out to me, please, with your address. We'll get you out a book. I want to thank our Dr. Adrian Keppler, our special guest today, certainly a likable leader. I want to thank Christina, my apprentice, and the producer of the show. If you want to learn more about Apprentice, check out our website at chooseapprentice.com. And I want to thank most of all you all, our viewers, for tuning in, for commenting, for sharing this if you like what you have seen and you like what you have learned. Until next time, have a super, super likable day. Bye for now.
Thank you.